And you're asking for a judgment in the amount of $4,389 from Tesla.
The entirety of this centers around a feature that I purchased in 2019 on my 2017 Tesla vehicle, referred to at the time as full self-driving. At the time, Tesla's website made claims that all vehicles were equipped with the hardware necessary for full self-driving. During my ownership of the vehicle, the feature that I had purchased that said no action is required to the driver was unilaterally shifted by Tesla to being what I would effectively describe as driving the car if somebody asked me to drive a car. I paid $2,189 in 2019 for this feature on my existing Tesla vehicle. They enabled it mostly, and this is the indirect part, which I will get to in a moment. And then when they actually delivered the software feature, they had changed the description of it so that it was not what I had purchased in the first place. And I was told by Tesla service that I had to upgrade the main computer, or MCU, from MCU 1 to MCU 2. The direct portion of this was $700 plus tax.
You know, it actually did do what was supposed to do, what it was advertised to do. And so, based on all of that, Mr. Jewell, you know, I'm not going to find by a preponderance of the evidence that you proved your case against Tesla. Mr. Jewell, come on the Zoom call, and then is it Chavez? Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're here from Tesla?
Yes.
This is number 9 on the calendar, 37923. Okay. So, Mr. Jewell, I'll hear from you first.
Yes.
And then raise your right hand, please. Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you're asking for a judgment in the amount of $4,389 from Tesla. How is it that you're entitled to a judgment?
There is a direct component and an indirect component to that. As I lay out my timeline, I will acknowledge and point to which one is which so that it is clear as possible for you.
I appreciate clarity.
The entirety of this centers around a feature that I purchased in 2019 on my 2017 Tesla vehicle, referred to at the time as full self-driving. I'm going to reference a few exhibits, both from mine and from the defense, because it turns out we agree on a number of the things. I purchased a new Tesla Model X in 2017. At the time, Tesla's website made claims that all vehicles were equipped with the hardware necessary for full self-driving. And I actually want to bring up exhibit number B from mine, which is on page 2. And I will quote it as well once I bring it up on my end. There. Specifically, I'd like to read, the system is designed to be able to conduct short and long distance trips with no action required by the person.
What page are you on now?
Page 2. Should be a clip from the website. It says the description of full self-driving capability.
Okay, hang on just a second. It's possible. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Page 2 is it's the 5th page, but it's numbered page 2. I see. Go ahead.
Yes. It says the system is designed to be able to conduct short and long distance trips.
Tell me what it says. Mr. Jewell, you don't need to read the whole thing to me.
Perfect. Thank you. Excellent. Right. I will save both our
Summarize what it says and how it supports your position.
Basically, the claim on the website was no action is required by the driver. I have a later exhibit, and actually I can point to the defenses exhibit, which says the same thing. The defenses exhibit says, and I do want to read this because I think this specific text matters as it is done. I just have so many documents open right now. I apologize. It's that this one was emailed to me. There it is. The description that was in the manual at the time that I traded the car and is still in the manual to this day, as provided by Tesla, says.
You need to be a little bit louder, please.
Sorry.
Trouble hearing you.
Perfect. Thank you for the feedback. The description from Tesla says, full self-driving supervised is a hands-on feature that requires you to pay attention to the road at all times. Keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times. Be mindful of road conditions and surrounding traffic, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, during my ownership of the vehicle, the feature that I had purchased that said no action is required to the driver was unilaterally shifted by Tesla to being what I would effectively describe as driving the car if somebody asked me to drive a car. I paid $2,189 in 2019 for this feature on my existing Tesla vehicle. They enabled it mostly, and this is the indirect part, which I will get to in a moment. And then when they actually delivered the software feature, they had changed the description of it so that it was not what I had purchased in the first place. That's the direct component, the $2,189 for a feature that they changed before they delivered. And so far as I know, there is still no published timeline to deliver it as originally said, even though it doesn't matter to me. At this point, I owned the vehicle for 7 years, but never got value during that 7 years, 5 years of which I had the feature. The indirect part is that the claim on their website was that all hardware that was needed in order to enable full self-driving was included with the car. And they started releasing those software features in October 2020. By the middle of 2022, I had not received any of those features, and I was told by Tesla Service that I had to upgrade the main computer, or MCU, from MCU1 to MCU2. The direct portion of this was $700 plus tax. It's reflected on the invoice, which is my Exhibit E. It's on my pages 7 through 10. A portion of that was $200 on my extended service deductible for the upgrade portion, the portion of upgrading the computer that Tesla did not cover the cost of, and $500 to retain a working FM radio, which would have gone away with that computer upgrade had I not paid the additional $500. The indirect portion, that's the direct portion of that part of the claim.
Okay, so we were at $2,189 for the initial cost, $500 for the upgrade.
Yep,
right?
The total from that invoice with the upgrade and the deductible was $819.
Okay, $819. So you got $2,189 at the outset.
Yep.
An additional $819.
Yep. And that completes the direct portion for required hardware upgrades that they didn't tell me about and features that they never delivered. The indirect portion is that I later found out when I went to trade the car that my extended service agreement would have had remaining value, except that the remaining cost of the upgrade was charged against it, zeroing out that value.
Wait a minute, say that again?
So when I purchased I'm going to explain it slightly differently to try and clarify it. When you purchase the extended service agreement, it's purchased for a set amount. That dollar amount runs out over the course of the agreement. It's a 4-year agreement. Right. But if there's a remaining amount, and I traded when there was 1.5 years remaining, you can get it back unless it's been spent on an upgrade or a repair, and it had been spent on that computer upgrade. So,
okay, I'm going to stop you for a second.
Sure.
So that $2,189 and that $819, that was never any out of pocket for you.
The $2,189 and the $819 were both completely out of pocket for me.
Okay.
The remainder of the $43.89 was not out of pocket. It was value I could not access, and I understand that that is a different sort of thing to say.
Okay. So I'm not following. So that extended warranty claim, is that something? I'm not following that. Is that unrelated to these two things, the $2,189 and the $819?
The $819 would have normally been $2,000 plus tax, but Tesla reduced it to $819 by charging a portion of it against my extended service agreement.
I see.
telling me at the time that they were taking care of a portion of the hardware upgrade that was needed for me to get access to the full self-driving software, which at the time was called Full Self-Driving Beta. And they later changed the name to Full Self-Driving Supervised when they changed the description to the description of driving.
Okay. So we got 2189.
Yep.
18 for this thing. And so then where's the rest of the money that you were claiming for a little over 4,000, as I recall? I don't have it right in front of me right now.
If you add up the cost of the upgrade, had I paid the full cost of the upgrade, which portion of which was paid out of my extended warranty and I could not recover, that would bring the total to 4389.
Okay.
But as I said, that remaining portion past the 2189 and the 819 is indirect and was not out of pocket.
Okay. Let me hear from Ms. Chavez. Ms. Chavez, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So I'll hear from you. What's Tesla's or your perspective on what Mr. Jewell is claiming?
Sure. So just by way of background, Your Honor, I just want to, reference a couple of facts here. First, the subject vehicle was purchased in July 2017. It was a demo vehicle listed as demo and used vehicle. This is in the defendant exhibits, page 3 in the upper right-hand corner. It sounds like if you're viewing this, Your Honor, on the computer, it might be PDF page 4.
So where is it?
In the description of the property, the subject vehicle is listed
service
there.
Demo vehicle. Got it.
Yes, correct. And if you can see, there were discounts taken as such. So there was like an $18,000 discount on the vehicle. This is all to say that the subject vehicle was not a customized to build vehicle. It came equipped with enhanced autopilot, which is a separate feature from full self-driving, which, as the plaintiff mentioned, was purchased about 2 years into ownership of the vehicle in 2019. So Tesla agrees that the plaintiff paid $2,000 plus tax to put full self-driving capability on the vehicle, and that subsequent upgrades were made to retrofit, again, this 2017 vehicle with the proper 2019 technology. All of that was at no cost. If you look in the plaintiff's exhibits, what he included there appears to be an upgrade for an infotainment, the infotainment center of the media. It's essentially the center of the console where you touch the screen. It's like you think of it as an iPad. But there's no reference of any out-of-pocket costs paid for any upgrade. So I'm not quite sure, Tesla's not quite sure in by which there's any claim for damages, since the upgrade was completed for free with the purchase of full self-driving. With respect to the features itself, it's very clear that all of the published material on full self-driving, including that in the owner's manual, states that this is a driver assist feature. This is not an autonomous vehicle feature. I understand that plaintiff's interpretation of that snippet from, I can't really authenticate the source of where this was taken. It's his interpretation that this is meaning to say that the vehicle can drive itself without any input, but the owner's manual and all published material on Tesla's website and support page regarding FSD is very clear that, again, this is a driver assistance feature and not a fully autonomous, hands off the wheel. The driver has no responsibility to maneuver the vehicle when you step in. That's just not what the feature is.
Did he get what he paid for when he paid that $21.89?
Yes. Well, Your Honor, if we're looking at the service records, there is no record of during the 7-year ownership of this vehicle, it being brought into service to diagnose any concerns regarding
No,
full
I'm
self-driving.
asking if he
Yes.
got the product. He paid $21.89.
Yes.
And so what'd he get for that?
So the vehicle was configured. So it's a software, Your Honor. So it's the software compatibility is pushed over the air, which was completed, and then the computer was upgraded to accommodate full self-driving because, again, this was a 2017 vehicle and the purchase for full self-driving was made in 2019. So the software was pushed to the vehicle and then the necessary hardware was upgraded at no cost to the plaintiff to receive the benefit of full self-driving.
So that car had it?
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, when the plaintiff resold the vehicle—
You'll get a chance there, Mr. Jewell. Let her finish.
Thank you.
When the vehicle was resold in May, it appears to be a private sale. The person that purchased the vehicle today, Your Honor, is still equipped with full self-driving and has the benefit of the extended service agreement. So, again, that's all to say that adds to the value of whatever the vehicle was sold for. The plaintiff received what he purchased.
Mr. Jewell, you wanted to say something.
Yes. Tesla claims that the MCU2 upgrade was not required. I made that upgrade in 2022. I also provided Exhibit J, which is a news article from August 2024, saying that Tesla vehicles with the original MCU1 computer provided in vehicles manufactured before mid-2018 were finally getting the full self-driving supervised feature. So Tesla was quite happy to take my money in 2019 on a 2017 vehicle and then take my money in 2022 to get access to a feature they hadn't yet rolled to vehicles until 2024. So yes, there were other hardware upgrades made to the vehicle, and I actually don't dispute the facts on that one. I had 2 other visits to Tesla for them to make hardware upgrades that were necessary to access the early version of the full self-driving feature. They were done at no cost to me, except for the driving and the time, and I am not attempting to claim those. That feels petty and unnecessary to me.
Okay, so she's telling me you got what you paid for. And you're saying, yeah, I mean, is that true or not?
The language on the website is pretty plain to me. She claims that I am misinterpreting it. I don't understand how I would have misinterpreted all you will need to do is get in and tell your car where to go. That's a very plain statement, and it's very different than what is in the updated owner's manual now.
Okay, and so Ms. Chavez, again, respond to that last bit there.
It's the plaintiff's interpretation. All other documentation, part of the binding contracts, the owner's manual, everything on Tesla's support page clearly states that this is a driver. Even if that's the plaintiff's interpretation of that language, nowhere in that paragraph does it say that this is a fully autonomous feature explicitly, Your Honor. I mean, the plaintiff can continue to make inferences of the language, but I mean, it does not say that this is a fully autonomous feature.
Okay, and take me back, Mr. Jewell, to that paragraph you're referencing.
I'm referencing this paragraph. It's my Exhibit B. This was clipped from the Tesla website as published in July 2017 when I purchased the vehicle. Though Tesla claims that I purchased a used vehicle, this is a really interesting interpretation since their paperwork says new as the first word on the vehicle. And their website at the time, which I didn't clip because I didn't know they were going to make this claim, said that all vehicles leaving their factory had all of the hardware necessary for full self-driving. Also, there is a significant item in that clip from the website, which I had just forgot to mention up until now. that I don't believe Tesla has ever delivered, and certainly had not delivered by the time I traded the vehicle. It says, when you arrive at your destination, simply step out at the entrance and your car will enter park seek mode, automatically search for a spot, and park itself. That has never been delivered in any form. The only closely related feature has been one where you can guide the car yourself remotely via your phone.
Your Honor, if I may.
In a minute. Go ahead there, ma'am.
Statute of limitations aside on a breach of warranty claim for a purchase that was made in 2017, again, I think we have to just look at the facts that if there was a concern regarding the function of FSD and the plaintiff had a concern of said function while he owned the vehicle for 7 years, I guess I'm at a loss as to understand why the vehicle was never brought in for diagnosis of the software. If plaintiff felt that he wasn't receiving what he paid for, there's no service record of expressing any concern regarding, following the purchase of full self-driving, that it was inoperable or not functioning as he thought it would prior to the purchase. This is all coming 7 years later after the vehicle has been sold. So the timing is quite curious.
Okay. So when, ma'am, how does this function work? I've never even been in a Tesla, let alone drive one. And I don't know anyone who has one. And so, but how does this work, this function? He's saying, well, it should have been full self-driving. You're saying, well, no, look at the literature, which I've seen. It says, assisted and stuff like that. Just tell me how it works.
Sure. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I don't, and full disclosure, I'm not an engineer. So I'm going to explain it in layman's terms. Neither am I. I'm going to explain it in layman's terms. Full self-driving comes with two specific features. Again, this is a build off of enhanced autopilot. So that was a configuration that this vehicle was already equipped with. Full self-driving adds the capability of auto steering on city streets and traffic and stop sign control. So again, these are driver assistance features. The driver is still required to have their hands on the wheel as all of the publication documents. But it's more of a, I guess you can think of it, again, in layman's terms, as an elevated cruise control. You input as the driver where you're trying to go, and then the vehicle will navigate on your behalf. But again, this doesn't absolve the driver from removing their hands from the steering wheel. In fact, the owner's manual clearly states at any time. Go ahead.
Well, if I get in there, can I, like this thing says, can I say take me to, I don't know, home? And then will it go there, but will it go there by itself, but you just have to keep hands on the steering wheel and be watching?
Assuming
as opposed to like a Waymo that I was in San Francisco over the summer on a vacation. And I see these Waymos driving around with no one in the driver's seat. And that's different, right?
Yes, Your Honor. It's absolutely different. Waymo is an autonomous vehicle. Yes. Okay.
But self-driving is, it can navigate to like my home, for example, and then, but it has a lot more supervision. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your Honor. Assuming full self-driving is engaged and all other conditions are met, such as your hands on the steering wheel, all of the cameras being properly cleaned. There's no, I don't know, sometimes consumers put wraps or the tinting is too dark. Assuming the conditions are met to comply with the engagement of full self-driving, yes, that's how it works. But it is in no way an autonomous vehicle like Waymo, as you described.
All right. So, Mr. Jewell, I'll give you the final word here.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. I think when Tesla's website, both in 2017 when I bought the vehicle, and 2019 when I bought the full self-driving option, makes claims as bold as all you will need to do is get in and tell your car where to go, and with no action required by the person in the driver's seat. And then the representative from Tesla years later says, when asked to describe it, it's basically an advanced cruise control. I think that's exactly the point I'm sitting on. If they had sold it in the first place as an advanced cruise control, I would have made a different decision. And in fact, I did. I bought enhanced autopilot, which was described as a driver attention feature.
So this feature, as she described it, I mean, were you able to take advantage of that?
I tried it several times. The most recent time that I tried it before I sold my vehicle, which actually was a trade-in, and they didn't give me any value for the feature. The most recent time I tried it, a few seconds after I engaged it, it sped up to 42 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. I have video of it doing this. I did not enter it with the court because I didn't think we'd be getting into this minutia. The second time I tried it was, in fact, navigating to my home and taking the left turn into the neighborhood. It gave me a screaming red screen that said, "Take over immediately," despite my hands being on the wheel. As far as I could tell, it's years from happening or never happening. And I think the market has confirmed that.
Ms. Chavez, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So my ruling in this case as follows. Mr. Jewell bought a car, a Tesla, and it had the feature, again, you're right. It shouldn't have showed that. For enhanced autopilot, and then relying on a screenshot from full self-driving capacity. All you need to do is go in and tell your car where to go, and then that feature that he purchased was in fact included. And I did, the difference between, a completely self-autonomous vehicle, like I say, the Waymo example, where I looked through the publications from both the website's snapshot that Mr. Jewell submitted, as well as some of the other documentation from owner's manual and so forth. And I could see how the phrasing, one could think it might be autonomous, but I could also see that, it actually did do what was supposed to do, what it was advertised to do. And so based on all of that, Mr. Jewell, I'm not going to find by a preponderance of the evidence that you proved your case against Tesla. I'll find for the defense. There won't be a judgment entered and the case will be dismissed, and that'll conclude the hearing for today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all free to leave the Zoom call.
Hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching.